this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, bringing to you another edition of the wrestling discussion series. And this is the success and failures of Degeneration X Part 4, where I am going to be talking about the reunion of Triple H and Shawn Michaels and their entire run from June 2006 to January 2007. So by August 2000, DX was pretty much done and dusted. Triple H was already a huge star and the biggest heel in the company and was married to Stephanie McMahon. Road Dogg and Billy Gunn were no more as the New Age Outlaws. X-Pac and Road Dogg were at each other's throats and pretty much disintegrated at SummerSlam 2000. And China was already off doing her own thing and was part of a very successful double act with Eddie Guerrero as Latino Heat and Mamacita. And Shawn Michaels was long gone from wrestling. So after that, DX was never really mentioned or spoken of again until 2002 when Shawn Michaels returned after a 4-year hiatus due to a back injury, and he returned as the newest member of the NWO, and that all fell apart. And Shawn Michaels was back on his own at Vengeance 2002. Shawn Michaels persuaded his best friend to sign with Raw in the name of friendship and fun, and it looked like we were going to be getting a DX reunion between the two original founding members. However, that wasn't meant to be. Triple H would shock everyone, including Shawn Michaels, by delivering a pedigree, ripping off the DX shirt, and pretty much crushing any chances of a DX reunion. And they would be locked in a very violent and legendary feud that would last pretty much for a total of almost 2 years, but they would run into each other every so often and butt heads. But officially, as the entire feud itself, it lasted for almost 2 years. And it looked like we weren't ever going to see a DX reunion because Triple H formed Evolution with Ric Flair and molded and groomed Batista and Randy Orton and helped make them into two huge stars. And he would go on to feud with both of them as well as Ric Flair. Shawn Michaels was enjoying an epic second run of his career and would have classic match after classic match and would steal the show at multiple WrestleManias while going on to declare himself as Mr. WrestleMania. So it looked like we weren't ever going to see a DX reunion. I mean, we'd already seen Hunter and Shawn spill a lot of blood over a 2-year period in their legendary feud. And I was pretty much done with that. I thought, okay, we've seen these guys essentially try to kill one another. I'm ready to see these two reunite and raise hell as DX. But it looked like we weren't ever going to see that. However, fast forward to 2006, Shawn Michaels was in the middle of a very personal war against Vince McMahon, which kicked off in December 2005 when HBK told the boss to move on from the Bret Hart Montreal screwjob, and Vince would make it his mission to make HBK's life a living hell in the hopes of bringing out the old HBK from the 90s. And Triple H was in the middle of a feud with John Cena over the WWE title, and something very strange happened. Triple H would start to experience lots of cheers, lots of strong fan support, and the fans weren't just cheering Triple H, they were loudly cheering Triple H. And he sort of became this anti face without actually turning. And the fans really wanted to see Triple H win the WWE title from John Cena, which is kind of laughable when you think about it, because this was the same guy who had an infamous reign of terror, and the fans were just sick and tired of seeing him with the world title. And now here we are, the fans want to see him beat John Cena. But a lot of that was due to the fact that the fans just had enough of Cena's act and holding on to the WWE title for so long and constantly winning each and every time. So the fans were really desperate to see someone beat him, even if it was Triple H, the same guy that they absolutely despised. So at WrestleMania 22, we saw Shawn Michaels do the DX chop to the boss from the top of the ladder, and he would defeat him in a very entertaining no holds barred match. Triple H would face John Cena in the main event, and the fans would cheer him loudly. Cena would get absolutely booed out of the building, and Triple H also did the DX chop. What was going on here? First, Shawn does the DX chop, which is kind of understandable because the boss pushed him over the edge. But why did Triple H do it? Could this mean we might see a DX reunion, perhaps? We didn't, but they started teasing and building up to something. So every time Shawn and Hunter would run into each other, the place would go absolutely nuts, but nothing happened. And I think, in terms of the success, they did a really good job building this up. It wasn't just, oh, we did the DX chop, now we're back together. They really took their time building this up, really making the fans anticipate and leaving them on the edge of their seats. Oh, this might be it. We might see these guys reunite, but they didn't. And I thought they did a really good job of that. And nothing happened. Business carried on as normal. Shawn would continue to feud with Vince. Triple H would chase after John Cena and his WWE title, and then Edge would get involved as well. And Triple H, even though he was still a heel, he was still getting lots of cheers, delivering brutal acts, but the fans just loved him. So it was quite cool to see that. So Shawn Michaels would get taken out by the Spirit Squad, and Vince would focus his attention on Triple H, who would try to make him join his Kiss My Ass Club. Triple H, of course, would flip it over and pedigree Vince McMahon with his pants down after making the switch with Shane, who tried to drug Triple H's water, but ended up giving it to Shane and he would pass out. So Triple H was always ahead of the game, pun intended, against the McMahon family. So on the June 12th, 2006 edition of Raw, we would finally get the question that we had been asking for all these years answered. Triple H would take on the Spirit Squad. Shawn would come out to assist his old friend and clean house, and we would essentially see DX back together. The fans went absolutely crazy. I was shocked but excited to see these two back together. My best friend was as well, because, as much as we loved the DX with the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac, for us, the original DX was where it's at. Hunter and Shawn, the dynamic duo, raising hell, back together, ready to make the boss's life a living hell. But this DX was very different to the DX of 1987 to 1988. This DX was a bit more sophisticated, a bit more watered down. I mean, it wasn't the PG thing just yet, but Shawn was a born again Christian. He wasn't that animal that he was in 1987. So it was clear that we weren't going to get that version of DX, but they were still very entertaining. They would humiliate the Spirit Squad, the McMahons at every turn. They would make quick work of the Spirit Squad at Vengeance 2006, and then face the McMahons in a very entertaining tag match. at SummerSlam 2006, even though you had Raw and SmackDown wrestlers getting involved. And for the most part, Hunter and Shawn would constantly get the last word over Vince and Shane. Now, the whole feud with the McMahons was entertaining, but I felt it was really starting to drag on now. It was like, okay, I'm ready to see this feud end now because, it's gone on for so long. And, December 2005, it was HBK versus Vince. And then by May 2006, it was Triple H versus Vince McMahon. So it's been going on a long time. And Big Show would join the mix, and Vince and Shane would finally start to get the upper hand on DX, busting them open multiple times. And the feud went from being silly to now being a full blown personal war. And I quite liked that. And the feud finally came to a massive blow off at Unforgiven 2006 in a 3-on-2 handicap match with the McMahons, Vince and Shane, and the Big Show versus Triple H and Shawn of DX. And it was a great match. One of the better Hell in a Cell matches of the Ruthless Aggression era. It was a very good match. And I thought that would be it. I thought, okay, they got back together, Hunter and Shawn, feuded with the McMahons, settled the score, they'll go their separate ways. But they didn't. They still remained together. They didn't really do a whole lot after that. They would feud with random tag teams, including Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. But then this is where things really started to pick up. Orton and Edge got together as Rated RKO, declared war on DX, saying that they are the present and the future of the WWE, not some washed up, tired old act of the Attitude Era. They were ready to take back their lives, their livelihoods, and their opportunities and the championships. And I absolutely loved the DX versus Rated RKO feud. It was absolutely fantastic. Really put Edge and Orton over as two monster heels. Now, I know the DX reunion did get some complaints from fans. Oh, two guys in their 40s telling fans to, suck it. But, we hadn't really seen DX in its original form with the two of them in years, not since 1998. So it was welcome. It was very welcome for me. Triple H was now a big star. Shawn was already a big star. So the two of them on equal footing, it really made a cool dynamic. And the feud with Rated RKO and DX was unbelievable storytelling. The feud got menacingly personal. Ric Flair would get taken out, and DX were very serious. No more jokes, no more clowning around. They were all business. And Edge and Orton handed DX their first loss at Cyber Sunday. That was the first match that Hunter and Shawn had lost since they got back together. So they did a really good job making Rated RKO feel like and look like a big deal. And they were a big deal. So fast forward to January 2007, Rated RKO were the tag team champions, and they defended the tag team titles against DX at New Year's Revolution 2007. But it wasn't about the tag team titles. This was about destroying Rated RKO. And boy, oh boy, even though the match ended in no contest, it was a bloodbath. Triple H would tear his quad. It's funny how these classic tag team matches, Hunter always hurts himself in some form, but to his credit, as always, he soldiered on and finished the match. He pedigreed Edge on the table. Shawn, after punching the referee's lights out, delivered an elbow drop to a bloody Orton. And yeah, even though I was a bit bummed out that the feud ended so abruptly because of Hunter getting hurt, the feud still carried on, but as more of a 2-on-1 situation with Shawn going up against Edge and Orton. And I felt Shawn really did a good job making those two look good. I felt when Triple H was there, he kind of buried him a little bit. Not completely, but he did a little bit. But when Hunter was gone and it was just Sean, he really made them look really, really good. And it's a shame, really, because I would have liked to have seen a definitive conclusion to the DX versus Rated RKO feud. And it would have been interesting to see how DX would have ended. Would they have imploded? Probably not. I think probably what would have happened is Sean would go off and do something on his own. And I know the plan was that Triple H was going to face Cena again for the WWE title. Why, I don't know, but it is what it is. But I thought, you know, aside from the nostalgia of DX getting back together, which was a lot of fun, the McMahon feud dragged on for too long. You know, the silly jokes with the dicks and stuff. So it got a bit borderline cringy, but it got better when the Big Show was added to the mix. So, the McMahons I mentioned got the upper hand on DX and they started to get the advantage. But I think the best feud that DX ever had was definitely against Rated RKO, and I would have loved to have seen a true conclusion to that feud. So, in terms of the success and failures of the DX reunion, I would say it was a complete success. Very successful, very popular with the fans, some great matches, some entertaining segments and promos, especially the one where, DX impersonated the McMahons, although it was never going to touch the Nation sketch, not even close, but it was still funny. And the feud against Rated RKO was legendary. Would have liked to have seen it go on longer. Such a shame it got cut short due to Hunter's quad injury. But yeah, it was a complete success. I quite enjoyed the DX 2006 reunion. It was different. Would I've liked to have seen more of the old HBK? Well, of course, but they still made it work. I thought it was really decent, and me and my best friend, we just ate it up. It was just so much fun. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on the DX 2006 reunion from June 2006 to January 2007? Did you enjoy it? What was your favourite feud? Was it the feud with the McMahons, the feud with the Big Show, the feud with Rated RKO? And were you happy to see Hunter and Sean back together? Do you think maybe we should have got a definitive conclusion to their reunion? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series, where I'm going to be talking about the success and failures of the final run of DX from August 2009 to March 2010. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.